edition of the Few Mexico in the World podcast so that we can talk about events, celebrations, and more about Mexico and the world on this occasion. Let's start with what is the commemoration of the day of the Nobel Prize for Human Rights. A very important and sensitive issue since unfortunately today there is still a lot of work to be done on this aspect of human rights. Especially in countries where the human rights situation is even more complicated. We hope that the concern and fight for human rights help the world improve in this regard. There is also the celebration of the Virgin of Guadalupe in Mexico, which is very important because she is the patron saint of Mexico. There are many celebrations around the day of the Virgin of Guadalupe in her day because many pilgrims come to visit her to thank her for helping them, or ask for her intercession in a need they have. It is a very big commemoration because it is like the Virgin of Lourdes in France, or the Virgin of Fatima in Portugal. This is the day of international health coverage. This is very relevant. Especially now that with the pandemic, not only with the pandemic, but there are many other respiratory diseases, for example, and not everyone has access to the universal health coverage that is needed. In short, there is a lot around this, or for example, in some countries are experiencing a deficiency in terms of the health system due to lack of financial support from doctors, nurses, and all the personnel who are in charge of this health sector. But above all, supporting the doctors and nurses who dedicate themselves so much to trying to help and cure people in some curiosities is International Tea Day. So celebrate it with a good cup of tea for all those fans of this drink. This has everything has been for the moment in this edition. As always, we leave the issues on the table so that we can talk and reflect on them, and we do not want to say goodbye without thanking you for listening to us and reminding you of our social networks. Email podcastmexicointheworld@gmail.com, Twitter @MexicoTheWorld, Facebook